Speaking of which, we have a special guest joining us who's dedicated his life to public health and health screenings, as a matter of fact. We've got Matt Peters joining us. Hello, my friend.
Hello, how are you?
Good to see you.
It's nice to see you today.
This is a great, I love offering anything with you. We talk blood pressure monitors and that sort of thing, which are available on hsn.com. But today we're going to talk about a thermometer, and I wish I would have had this yesterday. I had a little low-grade fever, spent the day in bed. This is the ticket. This is infrared. Tell us how this works.
Did you have a good workout, by the way?
I did.
Okay, if you have a fever, the worst thing that you can do is ignore it, because if you have an elevated temperature, it could be indicative of something going on that's very serious. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But I'm gonna jump right into something, Callie, okay? This thermometer is the only one you're gonna need for your household. And I'm gonna show everyone really quickly how this works. I usually wait a little bit before I do this, but I'm gonna do it right off the top.
Oh, for me?
I'm gonna check your temperature without touching your skin. That's the infrared technology. 97.8 degrees.
Hey, now.
Okay. Now I'm gonna switch it to object mode. And down here, everyone's wondering in the hallway why I have a baby bottle. Baby formula, you cannot guess. 134.6 degrees. I'm gonna go right down to the cold beverage. 60.2 degrees.
Nice.
So you see what we did there? We have two major modes on this. We have person mode for our health. We have object mode, so we can check objects like baby formula, baby bath water, cold and hot beverages. So this is gonna be, like I said, the only thermometer that you're going to need, so you can avoid some of those serious health problems if they're looming and you're not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot of neat things with this.
There's free shipping and handling. It is, I mean, every home needs to have a thermometer, for goodness sakes. In fact, yesterday when I was down, I was like, I couldn't find one. When I finally found one, it was like old. I knew I couldn't rely on it. I just felt warm all day. It's such an important thing to have. It happens. How about with our pets and things too? I'm sure we can use the infrared and you don't have to even touch them.
Absolutely, and you mentioned a very key thing, Callie, because the touching is important. Actually the major way that we spread germs around the household when somebody is sick is by touching them and going from person to person. So with this infrared touch-free technology by Veridian, not only is it clinically accurate, but you don't have to touch the object or the person to get that clinically accurate reading.
Good point. Sanitary. And then there's other options that have like the covers for the tips and all the other things you always constantly buy. And as you're looking, I mean, oh, the little guy. You know, I was thinking I'm gonna send this out to my boy. He's 20, he lives on his own now. I remember the first time he got sick when he first moved to California, I almost had a heart attack trying to figure out how to help him from thousands of miles away. It's nice to have, and you know what? You as a flex pay, $13.32 to get one for you or send one off to a family member.
Yes, and you know, one interesting thing that you see, you know, a mom taking her son's temperature on the couch when he has a fever, okay? The last thing you wanna do is wake the person up when they're sick. It's very hard to get to sleep when you have a fever. This actually has a silent mode. Oh, cool. So if I push that right now, we didn't hear anything, and a 97.8 is what we have on here. So again, you're normal. 97.
I'm normal.
It's a range. 97 to 99 is the range. And the other thing I love about Veridian products specifically is, I don't know if you can see this, but there's actually a little smiley face down here. You don't need to have any clinical knowledge to know that you're in the normal range. So that smiley face tells you that you're actually in that normal temperature range.
Yay, in the zone. This also reads in Fahrenheit and Celsius, correct?
Both Fahrenheit and Celsius.
That's fantastic. To me, the key to this is that it's not just for a body, that it reads objects. Not only, I never thought about that, for a baby's or a young one's bathtub. You hear about these stories of like, oh my gosh, you didn't realize that the water was as hot as it was, and you know. It's something you can't really mess up, and we're always taking the bottle and testing it on the wrist. It's not really a clinically accurate way to do that. And the last thing you want to do, is burn your baby's mouth, or on the bath water especially, to take the surface temperature, whether it's a pool, a hot tub, a hot beverage. You know, I'm checking the temperature here on this surface. So I'm going to, again, change it right into object mode, and just a couple clicks of the button, we can actually go into object mode. I'm actually taking the temperature of the surface of that object. So when I have that reading, 127.5 degrees, that's the surface of the object. So if it's a surface of water, whether it's a cup of water,
a bowl of hot soup or baby bath water, you're gonna actually get the temperature of that surface. So it comes in very handy, and it's, like I said, it's something you're gonna use year round. One of the major complaints I have with patients with thermometers is there's always those gadgets, those replacement gadgets, whether it's the ear inserts, you know, or other things with thermometers, and you can never find those inserts when you need to take the temperature. So with this is all you need. You can take it anywhere. Like I said, clinically accurate, because what good is a device for medical purposes if it's not clinically accurate?
And it has a memory recall, right?
30 readings in memory.
So I think that's important too, and it's so accurate. Remember the old-fashioned ones where you shake them out and you're like, I think it looks like it's somewhere around, you know, I mean, this is digital. It's to the point. 10th percent.
You can't get it wrong. You know, I have a good friend who recently had a child, and she lives about 20 miles, you know, give or take, to the nearest hospital. Middle of the night, she thought that her baby, you know, her baby was fussy, thought he felt a little warm, so she drove him into the emergency room. That took up a lot of time, and nothing was wrong, but they spent hours in the ER, okay?
Not to mention cha-ching.
Not to mention cha-ching, exactly. All she needed was a clinically accurate device, and just by checking that, she can monitor up to 30 readings in memory to make sure that he's not trending higher as time goes on.
Yeah, you know, it's true, when the little ones are small enough, they can't tell you what's wrong. They can't tell you if they feel weird, they feel bad. You know, it's just so comforting, peace of mind for as a parent to know that you can, and not even have to touch them, not to mention the kind that you have to use to stick under the tongue and it has to be there for a certain amount of time, and if it's off to the side, you know, it was just so inaccurate as I was raising Tristan.
Yes, touch-free technology is something else, isn't it? Because it's infrared, because when we have a temperature, the most uncomfortable thing is, you know, to be touched, you know, and especially when the thermometer is so cold under your tongue or under, you know, a child's arm, that is so cold and unpleasant. So what this does is it eliminates that touching and that uncomfortableness so that you can just take your temperature over and over again. You don't even feel anything.
Oh my gosh, and it's usually during the midnight or the sleeping hours. My son, I don't know if we didn't talk about this, but when he was 15, he had a pneumothorax.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 13 days in the hospital, double lung. Oh, you remember, you went through it with me. He's doing so great now, by the way. But boy, that was a scary time, so stressful. And it's usually while we sleep, whether it's your young one or you yourself or a parent, that we tend to run hotter, isn't it?
Yes.
And then sometimes you can break a fever during the night and wake up feeling better or whatever the case may be. But just having that memory recall is so key to kind of tracking. It's much like the blood pressure monitors, what we talk about from Veridian.
It is, it really is. And that's a good point. It's a range, 97 to 99. So sometimes you run a little bit warmer, like you said, when we sleep. Depends on, you know, if it's freezing in the studio, you might be a little bit cooler. If you're exercising like you were before, it's a little bit cooler. Another great point that you just brought up, and this is what I mentioned at the top of the segment. There are so many reasons why every household needs a reliable, clinically accurate thermometer. Okay, one of those reasons is if it's cold and flu season, but that's not the only reason. If you suffer from
allergies and things.
Allergies, autoimmune diseases, you know, an elevated temperature can indicate an infection somewhere in the body that's gone systemic throughout your whole body.
That's true.
So if you have a thermometer, you know, let's say if you have an open wound, for instance, and you're healing from surgery, you know, the doctor's going to tell you, you need to check your temperature and monitor that on a regular basis. You don't want to wait until you have surgery or a little procedure to have the thermometer around. You want to get it now so that when you run into that situation, you can actually monitor it and give that information to your doctor.
Let's go over to Jen, because I know I'm curious. What did you say is the normal range? Not that we need to remember it, because you can, it tells you with the little icons here.
97 to 99.
Okay. So can you do it to yourself? Yeah.
So we've been on air, what, 10 minutes? So Jen probably has about 30 readings in memory right now. And, you know, you can actually cycle through those memory readings. There's a memory button on the device, okay? There's just 3 buttons on this. There's the button that turns it on. There's the button here that changes the mode from object mode into silent mode and then silent object mode. And there's also over here the memory button. So if we cycle here, we can actually go through all of those readings. So if you're trying to get, you know, track the temperature of an object or track the temperature of a loved one because they seem to be a little bit warm and you want to make sure that they don't have a fever, you can actually call your doctor and say, this is what's going on. Is there a problem? okay? And that is just worth so much to have around the house, something that's clinically accurate.
I just took it again, 97.5. Different unit, same reading as what you got.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the things about the name Veridian. It's known to be clinically accurate. It's a very reputable name. Again, if you're just tuning in, it's definitely one of those, like, have you checked your thermometer lately? Do you have a little, like, I have a little medicine cabinet and a basket in my closet where it's like, stuff to help you feel better. I won't name names, but you gotta have a good thermometer.
Believe it or not, some thermometers actually need to be calibrated on a regular basis. And they claim, you need to calibrate this device because it's clinically accurate. Veridian, as you mentioned, has a clinically accurate device. It does not need to be calibrated. All you have to do is turn it on with one button and take that temperature, and you're gonna get that clinically accurate reading. It's so reliable.
Veridian is a name I know I see in the local store that I get, if I'm feeling under the weather like I was yesterday. And that certainly speaks volumes. There's free shipping here. You don't have to worry about making your way to a drugstore or a place to find something with a reputable name like this. We'll ship it off to you for free, and we'll let you pay for this a little over the course of 3 months, a little bit at a time. $13.32, and all of that goes away tonight at midnight, much like the chair gym that we had earlier in the show.
I'm not in the business of selling thermometers, but you would not believe how many people I've mentioned this device to, and that go out and run out and buy this because it truly is the only thermometer for the household that you're ever going to need.
That feels good. Don't wait until, oh my gosh, she's got a fever, I'm freaking out. If it's a baby or a young one where they can't really tell you what's going on, there's nothing more stressful than that, of like wondering what's the matter. Start with just knowing the temperature. Thermometers are so unpleasant because they sit in the medicine cabinet, right? And they collect dust, and then, like I said, they have the attachments, or they're just not easy to use, or you have to shake them, if they have mercury, which some thermometers still have. Oh, yes, which is very dangerous. Yeah.
But if you have a thermometer that you're going to use around the house on a regular basis, then why not upgrade to one that serves all of these purposes? When you're sick or when you need to monitor your temperature for a medical purpose, you have this around for clinically accurate. So you can do it on the objects as well.
Object, random question, is it okay to use it on a pet?
On a pet?
On a pet?
You can, as long as you're taking the temperature of a surface, it's going to give you a clinically accurate reading.
I'm asking because I took my Lucy, my little dog. I'm moving her to California. I post a lot about Lucy on Facebook, and she's moving out to be with my son in California. So we had to take a temperature at the vet the other day. Let's just say it wasn't a pleasant experience to watch. You know what I'm saying? You know. Not going to get into more details, but having something like this, it certainly is nice to be able to just, without touching anything. A pet's not going to stand still for you.
No.
I can't stand still, for goodness sakes.
No, not spreading germs from loved one to, in your case, from pet to loved one, or loved one to pet, or vice versa. That's a great thing. You're not going to spread the germs around with infrared technology. It's touch-free and still clinically accurate, which is great.
430-010. You're welcome to multiples. You can send one off to mom and dad. Free shipping. Get one for your family. Free shipping. Son and daughter at college. Free shipping. College. Do you have a college?
Yes, I do.
Oh my gosh.
First aid kit right in here.
First aid kit. Such a good idea. That first time, has your son or daughter been sick at school yet?
Yes, I have had the flu. What's your temperature? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. She just